Hello, hello. My name is A.F.H and this is my presentation on my practicum experience with Advancing Forward Health and Into the Wild for the summer 2024 session. My name is A.F.H and I am a rising senior recreational therapy student at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. I am in the Department of Community and Therapeutic Recreation, and my anticipated graduation date is May of 2025. So, a little bit about me before I get into the presentation. I am an adult transfer student, so I transferred from out of state and for Psych Tech to UNCG. I'm a recreational therapy student because I believe in the power that recreation has on healing, and I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to work with the two agencies I'm about to tell you a little bit about, because I really think that the reason that I went back to school in the first place and that I am studying recreational therapy really clicked, even more so than I really thought they already had. My personal work history experience and passions are mental health recovery. I am a certified peer support specialist here in North Carolina. Substance use, I have a history working with individuals with substance use due to my peer support background. I currently work with oncology and the arts, and I have experience doing art and wellness activities in a variety of spaces. So, all of that led to me learning a whole lot this summer. This summer, I had the true honor and privilege of working directly under Sonia Hensel. Sonia is a licensed clinical addiction specialist. She's a drug and alcohol counselor who has over 25 years of experience working in substance use and behavioral health. She's also a trauma-informed addiction specialist, and she uses a person-centered approach in her practices. Sonia is the executive director of Into the Wild and the clinical director of Advancing Forward Health. And I've included a link to Sonia's Psychology Today if you want to learn a little bit more about her. The agency that I started off working with this summer, that Sonia is the clinical director for, is Advancing Forward Health. This agency is located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So, Advancing Forward Health is a medically assisted treatment clinic. They serve individuals whose lives have been impacted by opioid use disorder. They offer complete medical assessment and develop a personal plan for overcoming chemical dependency for clients. So, what did that look like for me as a practicum student? A lot of what I did with Advancing Forward Health was sort of assist in the ways that I could and observe in the ways that I could as well. I was actually given the chance to assist with some wellness assessments for clients, as well as using my peer support background to help doing some resourcing for folks when and where I could. A lot of what I did at the agency as well while working with Sonia was simply assist with tasks that she needed to be done there and help plan Into the Wild, which is where I spent most of my time this summer. Here I have included a video from the Advancing Forward Health website about the work that they do as a medication-assisted treatment clinic. So there are a few words in here from Sonia about the services they offer and how they go about delivering those services to their clients. So, what is Into the Wild? Into the Wild is a nonprofit organization that is based out of Lewisville, North Carolina. It is a 6-week IOP, or intensive outpatient program, that is led by Sonia Hensel and her team. The clientele that Into the Wild serves are women and femmes whose lives have been impacted by substance use disorder, whether that is that they personally have history and experience with substance use disorder or their lives have been impacted by family, partners, friends. Those are the individuals who we serve. Other unique features of this IOP is its holistic approach includes art therapy, self-regulation practices, nutrition, healthy eating emphasis, regulatory and somatic practices, yoga and mindfulness, and hiking outings. This is a program that is free for participant, and shameless plug, we are always accepting donations to keep making this possible. That incredible feature of the program allows us to really serve individuals who need this type of work and need this type of healing. We introduce clients to the beauty of outdoor environments and engage them in activities that build their confidence and guide them toward recovery solutions. The primary goals are to provide the skills, emotional communication, and self-regulatory that allow these women to create lives for themselves that are worth living. I've included a link to their Facebook page and website as well. The services, programs, and events that are offered at Into the Wild. The services are that there is a licensed therapist, Sonia Hensel, who leads the program, as well as peer support staff who are amazing with clients who have experience in this field, who have experience themselves as what it's like to go through the things that a lot of the clients are going through. We have a culinary director who serves vegan meals as of now to participants, and the model is outdoor behavioral therapy. All of this is done by providing clients with professional counseling in a safe yet sometimes challenging outdoor environment. So, this technique, outdoor behavioral therapy, many of the first programs use the outward bound model, which is removing distractions of daily life to allow an appreciation of nature to provide a positive change. The mental health community soon discovered that many of their clients could benefit from this approach as well and started their own outdoor projects. As the success of these programs grew, it became known as wilderness therapy. So, outdoor behavioral therapy, or ODB, is wilderness therapy, the model that we use. The programs, as I've mentioned, yoga, art workshops, nutrition education, processing groups, and the events are our Friday adventure outings and into the session camping trip. The Into the Wild facility is in Lewisville, North Carolina. It is on a property with about 45 acres of land that overlooks a small body of water. So we meet at the boathouse, which contains a kitchen where the meals are prepared and served. There's an upper and lower dock, as well as a basement, which is what we use as the art studio space. There's also a yurt on the property, which is used as the space where yoga and mindfulness exercises are taught and practiced. So this is where we spend our days on Wednesdays and where we all meet up prior to our outings on Fridays. So what So, what did my role as a practicum student look like for this agency, with Into the Wild in particular? So, I believe that my role is one that sort of evolved as I was simultaneously under Advancing Forward Health while planning this session of Into the Wild. So, a lot of my role at first consisted of sort of assisting Sonia in the preparation that goes into each session, sort of leading up to the session. So, at the beginning, I was the first point of contact for new participants. So, what I did was have a ton of phone calls, get to know people, do sort of intake assessments. I headed group communications. So, what that looked like was group chats, making sure that people knew when we were meeting, where we were meeting, a little bit of what we were doing. During group, I was able to use my background as a peer support specialist to connect with and support participants during group and during session. So, what that looked like was facilitating processing groups. So, that would be introspection groups, having group discussions. And again, with my peer support background, I think that I was lucky and fortunate in a way that I had some experience with these types of groups already. And working under Diana and helping facilitate the art workshops, what I was able to do was really learn how art, visual art, and writing can be incorporated into a space like this outdoors and used as an avenue for healing. So I was able to meet with Diana and discuss a little bit of curriculum, kind of what projects we were thinking, ideas that she had, ways I could learn from her, and sort of setting intentions for how we were going to follow through on these projects and lead groups and outings in a way that was super powerful for participants. So this photo was actually taken at the top of Carter Falls in Elkin, North Carolina. So that day, Sonia led an activity where we learned something called the breath of joy, which is a grounding technique. It's a breathing exercise for individuals who experience anxiety, and we were actually able to do that in the water. So on Wednesdays, participants meet and join for plant-based meals, processing groups, and artist workshops led by local artist Diana Green. One of my roles this summer was actually working directly with Diana on creating our art project curriculum for this session and leading groups with her. So the photo that I used as the background for this slide is a photo of the vision board project that our participants completed during week 1. Sonia also leads gentle yoga groups and mindfulness activities in the yurt, which is located on the property as well. I've included a photo here that was taken during one of our processing groups that happened after an artist workshop that we did. This is actually the same vision board assignment that I used for a photo in a previous slide. So this is happening on the lower dock of the boathouse, and I wanted to use this photo just to sort of present the intimacy of the program and show how utilizing this space and being outside with each other really lends itself to allow for vulnerability with clients, with each other, so that they can get to know each other while getting to know themselves. So on this slide, I've actually included a video that our art instructor, Diana Green, recorded and made of a participant from a former session. It's called Flower and Ashes, and this is just a little taste of what our processing and art groups look like.
Like, even, cutting my hair and starting to dress more appropriate. Like, in my addiction, got started very young, so I was stuck in that young state. And I was looking in the mirror one day and I said, well, the only thing you got to change is everything. So, and in the picture, it is me looking to my future, and the other picture is a flower grown out of ashes.
I love that. That's gorgeous.
And you worked so hard on that too.
I really did.
That flower in the ashes.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about the flower coming out of the ashes?
Yeah, so my whole life was really kind of crappy, starting from the very beginning. And I really haven't felt anything but like ashes. Like, I'm just nothing blowing in the wind. And when I came to this program, even just the little bit that I got, it just made me feel like it's time to move on. Become who you were meant to be and enjoy life, because it's beautiful.
Here's a picture of the inside of our yurt, which I actually helped build. So this is where Sonia leads gentle yoga, stretching. We also do some processing groups in here and learn coping skills. Fridays are considered our adventure outing days. So we typically meet at the property and we load up either carpool style or in staff cars or in our RV Sprinter van for a day on the water or trails. So because the program runs from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., our destinations are close enough that we can get there, enjoy, facilitate groups, and be back on time. So the good news is we live in North Carolina and we have beautiful trails and state parks all over the place. I've included some highlight photos at the end of this presentation from throughout the session, but here are two photos from our Friday outings. The one on the left is when our group went to Carter Falls in Elkin, North Carolina. The photo on the right is a hike that we actually did up the Dan River. We hiked up the Dan River and then floated back. So it's a wonderful experience, and it's great that we're able to time it in a way that we can go on these outings and facilitate groups sometimes on the way or on the way back and really get to experience the outdoors in a way that's meaningful. So what attracted me to apply for a practicum at this agency? So I actually had a practicum set up at another agency this summer that ended up falling through, I think, 2 weeks before it was supposed to begin. So it was happenstance that I ended up with Into the Wild. The reason that I ended up with Into the Wild is I called Sonia knowing her work and knowing that she's a very connected individual in this field. And she just so happened to offer me the practicum experience with her and with Into the Wild, which has been an absolute dream come true. So one of the reasons that I was so excited about this opportunity is because I do have the same personal philosophy of healing as this agency. And those beliefs are that human lives matter, that recovery is possible, and that everyone deserves a second chance at a life worth living. I personally have experience in this field, both as someone who has a history of substance use as well as someone who has spent a lot of time with this population as a peer support specialist when that was my job for a few years. So I did have interest in working with this population, and to be honest, that interest sort of stemmed from me wanting to push myself. This is not a population that I expected to be working with this summer. And I am so glad that I was able to follow through on this opportunity and learn so much about myself and this population and the oppression that this population faces currently, opioid use disorder in particular, and really see how I can improve both as a future recreational therapist and as just an individual. This was a very powerful experience for me. I did have interest in wilderness therapy. I mean, this program is incredible. It is all encompassing for participants, and the power that I've observed nature therapy have on individuals, especially those who are recovering from trauma. Being outside is an incredible way to allow the somatic practices that Sonia leads to really go into effect. And again, I can't say enough about Sonia. Working under her has been an absolute dream. Again, when she offered me the practicum, I was blown away. So, to answer what is my relationship with my supervisor like, it is definitely one that has turned into something of deep respect and connection. And I think that she has been thoughtful and kind and direct in a way that has really allowed me to see the areas where I still need to improve. The philosophy, mission statement, and goals for Into the Wild. So I pulled these directly off of their website. I've linked their website in philosophy and mission. So their philosophy is to create holistic environments that allow women who have experienced trauma and whose lives have been damaged by the destruction of substance use disorders to heal. Their mission and goal is to not only help their clients find the inner strength they need to live lives of sobriety, but also to help them become their best selves. This is accomplished through adventure activities, art therapy, gentle yoga, and a full range of specialized therapeutic events. Holistically focused and confidently delivered, their team truly understands how challenging it can be to turn away from addiction. I absolutely see these as being carried out. I see staff and Sonia as living up to these 100%. The most incredible thing I think about this program is the opportunity for women to connect, not only to staff, but to each other. So, a lot of what happens because of how intimate the program is that particular coping skills that might be helpful to one participant that can really help their journey of sobriety can be implemented by a peer support staff, or perhaps even clients that have coping skills or life experience that they can share with each other to help propel them both on their lives and on their journeys can be implemented in a way that is in a safe space that everyone can benefit from. And I think that everyone on this team does a beautiful job of ensuring that that happens. Does Into the Wild allow for practicum experiences or internships? I asked Sonia this question and she said absolutely. So, the practicum internship application process at this agency, I was fortunate and already knew and was connected with Sonia. So, when I reached out to her directly and was offered the position, that's something that was very helpful as I didn't go through a technical interview process. However, if you are interested in this agency, my suggestion is to reach out to her directly. I'll include her email address in this. And does this practicum site provide you with any benefits? Yes. The benefits are meals, breakfast and lunch during IOP sessions, as well as meals during the camping trip, adventures, boundless adventures. It's so much fun. The places that we go, the outings, the learning experiences, the opportunities are just endless with this organization. Pay is not included. I'm very fortunate. I live very near the property in Winston-Salem, so I was able to keep my job that I have here in Winston-Salem while working this practicum. So while that is not offered, it is recommendations that I have for students who are interested in working with either Into the Wild or Advancing Forward Health. Number one is familiarity, or if not intimate familiarity, at the very least, an immense amount of interest in working with and learning about the population of individuals who live with and struggle with substance use disorder, as well as varying mental health conditions and the impacts of trauma. Substance use disorder is a very multifaceted condition that ends up impacting those affected in ways that extend far beyond just their use. So that means a lot of people struggle with housing situations, with relationships, with job insecurity, with financial insecurity. And while knowing all of the ins and outs of this is impossible, I believe that going into that with the willingness to learn and the willingness to observe and be compassionate is an absolute must. Another absolute must is an interest in the outdoors. We are outside all the time with Into the Wild. So, in all transparency, I did not have a lot of experience with the outdoors. That's something that I was a little nervous about. But after stepping into the space and really starting to get to know the staff and clients, I not only fell in love with the agency, but I now know that the outdoors is something that I'm very passionate about. The skill sets or strengths that I believe are essential for students to learn or obtain to succeed at this agency are confidence in leadership, time management, situational awareness, compassion and listening skills, creativity and flexibility, and number one is commitment to client well-being. I by no means was A plus in any of these areas before this practicum began, and I'm not perfect at any of them now. I think that commitment to client well-being is the most important one on that list. There are a lot of people who this agency serves who have been through a lot, and being able to put aside my own insecurities, my own experience, my own beliefs and judgments, and to put myself in a position to say, I am here to learn and I am here to do what it takes to help this agency's mission, which is provide a platform and a space for women and femmes who attend Into the Wild to grow and heal in their sobriety and in their lives. And being able to put some of my own fears and maybe my own lack of skills, so to speak, within confidence, within situational awareness, and to say, okay, this is about commitment to the client. I think that that is something that really laid the foundation for me to be able to learn during this practicum experience. And I made mistakes, and I'm not perfect at any of these skills. But I now know that these are what I want to work towards improving. For a student watching this slide is, in my opinion, the most important. This is practicum search advice. My number one piece of advice is to start your search early. You can start searching before assignments are due if you are in a practicum prep course. If this is something that is overwhelming to you or scary to you, like it was to me, work with your professors. They are there and willing and happy to help. This is a confusing process, or it was for me. I believe that reaching out to connections is also very important. If there's an agency that you're interested in, reach out to the director, reach out to the supervisor, see if they offer practicum experiences or if they're willing to. A way to go about what agencies to do that with is to consider your personal interests, your personal skill sets as of now, as well as consider what you want to learn. Are there areas that you know you need to or want to improve upon? And if there's an agency that matches that, in some ways, I think that can be more beneficial than perhaps what you're interested in at the time. Interest is very important, and I think that there is a balance between interest and what you hope to learn. But being open-minded is the most important thing. I did not know I was going to end up working with this agency until about 2 weeks before it began. So it was happenstance and luck, and I'm grateful that it worked out the way it did. But if I had not have been open-minded, I wouldn't have had this experience. The other piece of advice I have is to prepare for your practicum once it's secured, whether that means transportation, whether that means making sure that you have what you need to do this practicum. And a way to go about that I tried to utilize was being open with my supervisor about my needs, about my fears, about what I thought I could bring to the table, about what I was nervous that I couldn't in a way. And be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself during your practicum. I think that due to the fact that I was patient with myself, I was able to grow and learn from some of the mistakes I made or from some of the areas that I was not as familiar with before beginning this practicum. And I was able to ask my supervisor for help and ask for feedback throughout the experience, which I think is really the point of the whole thing. Here at the end of the presentation, I've included some photos from this summer session 2024. So I hope that you enjoy. There's a few pictures of our outings as well as art groups and some photos from our camping trip that we took to Jordan Lake. To anyone who may have questions about my personal practicum experience or experience searching for a practicum in general, I know it can be really overwhelming. Please feel free to reach out to me. I've included my UNCG email address as well as my personal email address. And I wanted to extend a sincere thank you to Sonia and her team and Diana for allowing me to be a part of Into the Wild this summer. I have learned more than I thought I could in one summer, in 6 weeks. So thank you so much.